What's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo. And you guys just keep throwing out all these little requests for me to try against Knull with all these other characters. And the most recent one is Thanos. So I thought, you know what? Let's go ahead and give him a shot. And, I still do have a CTP of Rage on him. He still is built for PvE, even though I'm not really using him very much in PvE anymore. But it doesn't mean he can't get it done. He absolutely can do this. I will be giving him double support. We will be using Mystique and Valkyrie because on my account, he just needs it. I have 55% physical attack on my cars, and he just isn't as well built as he could be, and that really does make the difference in the damage he does. Shout out to Ali in the comments from the last video. He said he's doing Thanos doing stage 4 against Knull, which that's amazing, dude. Shout out to you. That's freaking awesome. But we're just going to be doing stage 2 today. Thanos actually has some really awesome qualities that makes him decent for Knull, but he's not going to be the best. Just like Magneto, he's not going to be best. Obviously, there's better characters like Sharon Rogers, Moonstone, Knull himself. There's just stronger characters for it, but he can still definitely get it done. So my Thanos has 45,000 physical attack, and that's with his leadership. And he has 126 attack speed, 66 crit rate, and this is going to be maxed out from his third skill for about 7 seconds. Then he has 184 critical damage, so we don't have max critical damage. That's going to actually hurt our damage. We have max ignore defense, and something I want to show you here is we do have an extra 12% of ignore defense, and I'll explain why in a second. We also have max skill cooldown. The extra cooldown I have is because of my cards, and then we have about almost 74, well, actually rounded off, 73% dodge. So fairly high dodge, but my crit rate will be maxed out from the third skill. So really the critical damage is where we're lacking. And if I was to get rid of some of that ignore defense, I could adjust that. Thanos here, he has 5-star Urus, so I could put Odin's Blessings. I could give him at least mythic physical attack Urus, which would make him a lot better. Honestly, make these critical damage mythic. That would make him a lot better. Give him some extra critical damage. And as far as the skills, Thanos, this is something that's really awesome about this guy, is on his tier 3, he has a 100% to ignore target dodge rate for 10 seconds, which is awesome. So you do the tier 3, you get the 100% ignore dodge, and then you can run through your skills. You still have the ignore dodge up, which means you don't need any ignore dodge strikers. And this is absolutely fantastic. And then, of course, he has the invincibility for 10 seconds and the remove all debuff for 10 seconds and the increased damage by 70% for 1 attack. Yeah, of course, he has the penetration as well, but that's not going to do him any good against Knull. Then his passive gives him the 10% ignore defense. And this is why my ignore defense is actually above. And I could give him a different ISO 8 set like Hawk's Eye, and we still get crit rate, critical damage, all attack, and skill cooldown. But honestly, I would just get extra stats. It just wouldn't be worth it, honestly, if I did it. But there is something else I could do to improve his build. The one, remove all debuffs, some invincibility, which is really nice, giving him that native super armor. And then the second skill does have all defense down, but again, as always with Knull, it doesn't apply, so we get to see his raw damage. And then the third skill gives him the increase all attack by 25%, the all speed by 1%, which I don't know why they ever put these all speed by 1%. I honestly feel like that's like trolling all of us, to be perfectly honest. It's like, we'll give him a little bit, but I don't understand it. And then critical rate by 25%. And this is going to last for 7 seconds. So you only need 50% crit rate to max out his crit rate when you're doing this skill. And this is on a 6.5 second cooldown. So you can pretty much keep this up pretty much all the time. His fourth skill gives him more all defense down, which again doesn't apply against Knull. And then his fifth skill has the immunity to all damage for 3 seconds. So Thanos has a lot going on as far as his survivability. He also has the passive, which is activation rate 25% chance when attacking. He gets a 30% recovery of max HP for 1 second. And then he gets a 100% chance for immunity to all damage, making him even more of a tank, and why he can actually be even to this day, still be a little bit of a pain in PvP, but he's definitely kind of fallen off lately in PvP. Still decent, but not as good as he used to be. And with a cooldown time of 10 seconds. And then his leadership gives him 30% increase of all attack, which is always nice that you get this self-buffing leadership. And, as far as his rotation, what I always like to do is I just like to hit his 4, then cancel into the 5, and then the 2. And the nice thing about his skills is 5 and 4 can be canceled immediately. And then I usually just go into the 1 and then the 3. Actually, my bad. Actually, I usually start with a 3 to get the attack buff first. I usually hit the 3 and then go into the 4 and then the 5 and then the 2 to get the attack buff first. And usually you'll have to do 2 rotations and then your tier 3 will be ready. And when you hit your tier 3, it's going to be 3, 4, 5, tier 3. Make sure he throws his arm forward and then go into the second skill. And then you're going to go back into your 1, 3. The rage is really the best way to go with Thanos. I honestly don't know how well he would do with a damage proc against Knull. I think that would be pretty damn difficult. But let me know in the comments if any of you have done a clear against Knull using a damage proc. I'm actually really curious if any of you have done that. And then he has a fully awakened Power of Angry Hulk set, which is the way to go for him because he doesn't have any attack speed in his kicks, except for that cheesy 1%. And then he, of course, has the CTP of Rage with nice amount of critical rate, decent amount of dodge, not the best, but okay. And then, of course, ignore boss damage decrease by 60%. And we do have a Mythic Uniform, and this is where I could really bump up his stats. You see, I only have 3 stats here. We do have the max dodge from Killmonger's uniform. And then if I had Daredevil's uniform, which is for crystals, which I'm not buying because it's a complete trash uniform, I could get more physical attack. We could bump up Elsa's uniform here, but I'm not going to do that. We could give it extra HP. We don't need any ignore defense. There's really no other stats in here that we really need. We don't need cooldown. We don't ignore defense, obviously, from his passive. I mean, there's just nothing here. So I don't need that to be leveled up. And then this uniform here does give dodge, but unfortunately it's for crystals. I'm not going to buy it. It's a crap uniform. And then really our dodge is pretty much almost maxed out, so we don't really need it. But this one here is the one where we really could help his damage. If I had this thing at Mythic, we'd be gaining a lot of freaking stats. If I had those critical damage Urus up, we'd get more critical damage. And 15% critical damage would make a difference in how much damage we do. If I had Mythic physical attack Urus, that would make a difference. I mean, all these little things can make a big difference in the amount of damage that you actually do. And then, of course, getting lucky when the proc lands. Thanos doesn't have guaranteed critical rate. So even though I'll have max critical rate, sometimes maybe the proc won't trigger. But, you know, usually with Thanos, though, he does so many hits. There's the chances of him doing critical hits, as long as you got max critical rate, are fairly high. He usually will proc his rage fairly often. So that is something that's really nice about his kit. So let's jump into the action and let's rock and roll. So I'm pretty sure I could have went higher than what you guys are about to see. We're going to do stage 2, but I was kind of pressed for time. I work a lot on the weekends, so I didn't have a whole lot of time to try to do some crazy clear with this guy. But stage 2 still is decent, and you can see the damage we're already doing. We do have all damage to supervillain strikers. And again, that's something I really love about this guy's kit. We don't have to worry about having ignore dodge. I mean, I guess it would help in the very beginning, but I mean, 10 seconds of ignore dodge after you do that tier 3. I mean, look at the damage from that damn thing. And yes, you know, we do have 2 damage to supervillain supports, and that is helping. But the thing that's nice about Thanos is you can just face tank. Thanks to his passive with the heal and the immunity, his HP pull, he's pretty much the opposite of Magneto. Complete tankiness, but not quite as much damage, which sucks. You know, if Thanos had damage accumulation, he would be way, way stronger, which is something they really should give him, in all honesty. Come on, big boy. Let's go. But and I've mentioned before in the past that I really just love playing characters that I can play aggressively with. And Thanos, you can definitely afford to make a lot of mistakes. Now, right after this phase here, we don't want to get caught in the symbiotes. We tried that with the Hulk, and that did not work. If you get caught, they will enwrap you, and Knull will just come up and start slicing the Necro Sword on you and kill you. So when those things show up, we definitely got to run away. But we can push it really hard with Thanos, which is nice. I mean, honestly, really, if this guy just had a little bit more damage, I mean, he would be just a complete package. And honestly, and ever since the very beginning, when he got this uniform, we all loved it. But everybody still felt like it should have been a little bit stronger. It really should, in all honesty. I mean, it's Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet, for Christ's sakes. I mean, come on. The Infinity Gauntlet. he's he's pretty damn nuts with that setup in the comics, and of course in the movies as well. Come on, buddy. Come on. And the other thing that's nice is he goes in that iframe and the fifth skill. So Knull doesn't break his guard because he's in an iframe. And that's really sweet. Even though the only, he doesn't have native super armor, which is always, I always thought that was really strange that Thanos never had native super armor. I always thought that was really funky. Like, why doesn't this guy, like, one of the biggest threats, if not the biggest threats, depending on who you talk to, of the Avengers, why doesn't he have super armor? I always thought that was really strange, when it comes to this character. I mean, he should be pretty much an unstoppable force, which he pretty much is, but he shouldn't be getting guard broken. That's just strange to me. Let's go. Get him, get him. And pow. We just want to take him into the next phase. There we go. Rise, you pecker. All right. Oh, watch out. And, and this was easy. That's the thing, like Thanos is such a tank. This was just so easy in all honesty. But again, I mean, I'm using 2 supports. It really would have been better if I'd probably just used 1. But again, guys, I just didn't have a whole lot of time. I was really pressed for time. I work a lot on the weekends, and that really does kind of hurt me a little bit when I'm doing these weekend videos. Come on, come on, come on. But he could definitely do this with just 1 support. I guarantee it. All right, here we go. And you'll see that, especially in the time we're going to clear this. Oh, there we go, there we go. And this is something that's really nice. Because he's such tanky and he has that healing passive, we can just start face tanking him right now. We're going to hit that 1 to get our invincibility, get our super armor up, and then we're going to go right into our skills. We got the invincibility from the tier 3. Look at all that damage, guys. He's just plowing through this crap. 4, 5, and then we're going to hit the 2, and boom. So 48 seconds to spare. Wasn't even the best run. The proc got off a little bit. So he definitely could have done this with 1 support. Stage 2, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. It's a decent run. Again, just like I said with Magneto, this is not a character I would build just to fight Knull. There are a lot better options, characters that are just a lot stronger. But again, games are all about having fun, and we really should just play with the characters we want to play with. And if you love the Mad Titan, which a lot of us do love the Mad Titan, or Magneto, or whichever character you like to play, by all means, that's the characters you be trying to do clears with. Whether it takes 2 supports or 1 support or whatever. I mean, it's always nice when you don't have, when you can do it with no supports. But regardless, games are about having fun. And that's what you should always be doing. Because if you just play the game where you're always trying to be just playing optimally, then it can get boring and stale. So you should always just have a good time with whatever characters you love, if you can. This character can actually get the clears, so why not give it a try and do it? So let me know how y'all feeling about Thanos getting it done against Knull, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one.